Hey, this is our project for Flashback Friday. Me and Liliana will tell you about the war between Russia and Ukraine and how it affects Canada. Before we start, we have divided everything into points to make it easier. Let's start with history. And we're not talking about the beginning of this war. No, we are talking about the very beginning of this entire conflict. While many people who know history can conclude that conflict between Russia and Ukraine began immediately after the appearance of Russia, or as it was called then, Muscovy. Believe it or not, but Ukraine, or that time Kiev Rus, was precisely the reason for the emergence of Muscovy. There was such man named Yuri Dolgoruki. He is the grandson of Prince of Kiev Vladimir Monomach. This dude was so bored sitting still that he went to the east and there were only swamps and a couple of houses and people and called it Moscow. Now we will move forward a little, all the way to Catherine II. And believe us, this woman simply hated Ukrainians. In fact, she hated them so much, she burned Zaporizhzhia siege and ordered the troops to kill all those who remained alive. Lenin, in fact, he was afraid that he would not be able to seize Ukraine and join them in the Soviet Union. Stalin? I'm sure you know this mustached no good man. He created the genocide for Ukrainians that lasted 2 years called the Holodomor. It will be difficult for us to describe what people were going through there, but for you to understand, people cut off their own heels in order to eat something. Actually, we can go on and on about all the things that happened, but it will take so long that you have time to go to college. But for everything I said, I think you understand that Russia does not love Ukraine at all. Now the territory. From the beginning of Ukrainians' independence, all citizens were satisfied with the territories that Ukraine has now. Nevertheless, starting in 2014, Russia illegally annexed the Crimean Peninsula and began military aggression on the territory of Lugansk and Donetsk region. At the beginning of 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion occupying a very large part of eastern Ukraine and the territory of Kiev. Now, most of these territories have been returned to Ukraine, but such cities as Mariupol, cities in the south, are still under Russian occupation. And what is happening now? Russia is very brutally shelling residential buildings in Ukraine, especially in eastern cities. Recently, it was reported that terrible things happened due to the shelling of the Russians on the territory of city of Sumy. Also, not so long ago, the territory of Kiev was heavily shelled too. But this is war, right? Innocent people always suffer in war. I mean, look at WW2. So let me tell you, my little friends, why this war is so different from what we are used to imagining. And let me tell you that Russia is literally the father of the war crimes. Did you know that Russia has committed approximately 39,347 war crimes and suspected of more than 600? This is actually crazy, guys. And imagine that in 2022, Russia committed more than 400 crimes in just one city of Ukraine from October to November. On June 6, 2022, the Russians blew up the Kakhovsky HPP, a dam that had, for a moment, 18.6 million cubic kilometers of water. After the attack, there were 3.5 cubic kilometers left. That's crazy. Well, I cannot tell you everything. It would just take an hour or more. For better understanding, you can watch the movie 20 Days in Mariupol. It tells you about only one city of Ukraine under Russian occupation, but believe me, you can find a lot more. And finally, how does it affect Canada? The war between Russia and Ukraine affects Canada in several ways. First one is economic impact.
Canada's economy can be affected by disruptions in global trade, particularly if the conflict disrupts energy supplies or drives up commodity prices. Canada may also experience changes in trade relations and investment patterns with both Russia and Ukraine. Diplomatic relations. Canada may become involved diplomatically in efforts to resolve the conflict, either through direct participation in negotiations or by supporting international initiatives aimed at promoting peace. Military cooperation. Canada may provide support to Ukraine, either through diplomatic means, economic aid, or military assistance. Refugee crisis. The conflict may result in a humanitarian crisis, leading to an influx of refugees seeking safety in Canada. This could place strain on Canada's immigration system and require resources to support resettlement and integration efforts.